Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Marc here, and I have a privilege today to be in front of and invite you guys to experience this person. She does amazing things. She's multi-talented. Merari, can you tell everybody your full name and what do you do?
Hi, Christopher. Thank you for having me, first of all, and thank you for everyone tuning in and listening. My name is Merari Alfaro, and I am what I call the holistic metaphysician. So it is a combination of holistic practitioner. I'm a holistic practitioner, and I also do metaphysical counseling. And I'm an artist and creator.
So we're gonna cover a little bit, little by little bit, so that way that people can get a full scope of you.
Absolutely.
So tell everyone like a little bit more about what got you started as far as being a holistic practitioner. Like, when did your journey start when you were like, this is what I love, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right. Just like we had our conversation earlier, it definitely started with my background. I am a Hispanic. I come from the Bronx. And, when you're raised in neighborhoods where it's just pretty much underserved and kind of forgotten and neglected, you kind of have to reach for the low hanging fruit when it comes to health, when it comes to what you're eating, when it comes to what you release your energy with. So we don't have the luxury, I didn't have the luxury growing up of being able to know what eating organic was eating healthy, of we were eating cereal and whatever was more convenient, whatever was more affordable.
Right.
And growing up, I went through the process and journey of naturally listening to my instincts and always going the holistic route, the more alternative route. And by the age of 13, I had triglycerides, high cholesterol. I suffered from like gastrointestinal reflux, and I had all these symptoms, IBS, anxiety. And it was, in retrospect, looking now, it was just the survival mode and taking its toll on my body, you understand? And luckily I took charge of my health at the age of 13. I started dieting, I started working out, and the more I dug into it, the more I was just diving into a whole other reality of what it meant to actually take charge of your health, and with that came the healing of like mental disorders, emotional disorders, anxiety, panic disorder, body dysmorphia. And it all relates to the holistic alignment. You have being misaligned physically and feeding your body garbage and not getting the movement you're meant to do. It affects the other dimensions of your existence. So the more I dove into the care, like taking care of myself, the more I was able to just heal myself holistically. And, it was just a natural instinct to follow and take the alternative route towards everything. And I'm very glad I did, because even when it came to finding out what I wanted to do with my career, I always knew. I was like, I want to help people. I want to help educate people and teach them, and I chose the holistic route and I studied alternative medicine. And, my big goal, like I explained to you the other day, is to be able to open up centers in like the most underserved places you would never imagine, and to be able to educate, somehow even get into the educational system and teach kids how to self-regulate, how to, take better care of their health and how to make it fun, and educating them, realizing that a lot of these kids go home and there's malnourishment, there's poverty, and to be able to offer lessons like that to all kinds of children, not just children from particular backgrounds, is definitely something that is right within my radar. So
Y'all see what I'm saying? uh, so let me ask you this. So like, when it pertained to you, making that transition, what was the hardest part for you? Like transitioning from saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to, not eat this and change my diet and change my routine. What would you say is the thing that, that you were like, okay, you know what, this is the reason why I'm going to do it. Like, this is it. I can't do it anymore. When was that moment that happened?
I would say the most difficult part was the lack of support. It was when I became a vegan at the age of 15, 16. And again, I was in the Bronx during that time. And it was, I either had to go all the way to Manhattan to find appropriate foods for myself, or I had to learn how to cook, So I started learning cuisines and I started cooking for myself. And the lack of support was because people didn't understand. We are so brainwashed into thinking that Western medicine is the way to go.
Yeah.
And when I was refusing, even with my doctor, they would recommend me all these exams. I had very excellent insurance, so they were definitely, pushing all kinds of exams that I didn't need. And little did they know, it was emotional and mental help that I needed. I didn't need another blood draw. I didn't need another MRI, and that was a little difficult in terms of going with what I felt was the most natural thing for me, and going against the grain with what was the modern external, norm. So which is Western medicine and pharmaceuticals. Your head hurts, take this, right? So the way this works is that we're just masking. We're masking the deeper root of our issues, and the more you mask it, you take a pill for your liver, and now it affects your heart, and now it affects your blood pressure, and then we're taking another pill to mask that and counteract what is, and we're just running around and beating around the bushes. So one of the most difficult things for me was just trusting and persisting in what I knew was right for me, right? And what worked for me wasn't what the norm was. So being able to remain steadfast in my research and, believing that the traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and all these practices is there longer than what this civilization is, you understand? So believing in ancient medicine and traditional medicine is just, one of the best things I was able to do in persisting in my search for that.
Gotcha. So once you made this adjustment, what started happening in your life? Like, what did you find you were starting to attract? Because I think that, sometimes like when we make adjustments in our lives, we think to ourselves, okay, I'm going to make this adjustment, but you know what? This is not going to change my life. Like, this is not going to have me meet new people and have new things happen for me. So was there anything that happened for you after you made this adjustment within yourself internally and you started to attract new things? Were there anything that happened that allowed for that to occur?
Okay, so when I was in the middle of that transition in my late teens, I hadn't really found anyone to kind of relate to until recently, that people, those documentaries on like animal products came out and all these things. So once it started catching on and people started catching on, now it's kind of easier to connect with people because they also understand. So it was definitely more of a lonely process for me in terms of like remaining in that, and like, I would call like order pizza online and like no cheese, and the pizza shop would call me back. They're like, hey, like you placed an order, are you sure like there's no cheese? And I was like, yeah, no, I don't want cheese. So it was kind of those moments that are like, it was very difficult back then, I guess. And again, even with my own friends, my own family, eating out with me was such a nightmare. I was just like, these beans cooked in lard and all these things, just, very inquisitive. And recently it's been a lot easier. Like I have definitely found like the niche of like holistic practitioners, massage therapists, acupuncturists, nutritionists, and it's easier now to relate because it's not as obscure, it's more, it's mainstream, it's catching on. So I have realized that where I stand now, it is, we spoke about this in the other time, you attract whatever it is that you are currently embodying, so whatever it is I'm emitting, it is bringing in the people that I'm seeking to make connections with. So even just to answer your question in a different way, once you're eating better, once you're aligning your health, you do feel better overall, right? You're working out, you feel good, you're eating good, you feel good, not just physically, mentally, emotionally. So once you are in alignment, once you are optimally at your best in every dimension that you have, you just feel good. And once you feel good, you embody that feeling, you're confident, you're magnetic, and you just begin to attract whatever it is that suits you in that level that you're feeling. So if your diet is kind of junky, you're kind of slow, sluggish, you have no energy, you're low on energy, everything around you is going to kind of reflect that. People who are you're not going to really be able to relate with people who are go-getters and active on all these things because you're not really there. So it all has to do with the mind gut axis, which is you're feeding your body junk, you're gonna feel like junk, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those. It's like a thing where people are, they might look at a person and say, "Man, I wish I was making that amount of money, or I wish that I was at this place in my life, and how come I'm not?" And sometimes you have to do self-reflection. Sometimes you have to go inward and actually figure out, okay, well, what's blocking you from doing that? Like I was telling someone the other day, I said the most important thing is just showing up. Like,
Yeah.
you can't really control every aspect of your life. Like at a certain point, you do your best, you throw it out there into the universe, and you allow things to happen, and you just let it happen. And a lot of times people might say, well, no, but that's just like made up. That's like for stories and like for, for cartoons or something like that. It's like, no, it's real. It's like, because at a certain point, you just can't control everything. The only thing you control is you. And that is what, allows for you to radiate the exact thing that you really desire. So it's amazing seeing like you doing that. And I want to say congratulations to you, just because you understand that it's not a easy thing to commit to, especially if you don't have the support behind you to do it. But if you're, if you're focused and you can see that, what, this is helping me, I'm not worrying about nobody else, I'm good. Then
so you understand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you understand that, we're so kind of conditioned to believe that when you prioritize yourself, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to deprogram myself so much from people pleasing, right? I grew up in a very, very religious environment where, I had to walk on eggshells over how I presented myself and, how I carried my life and how I lived my life and all these things. So I cared so much about public opinion, and that was one of the battles I had. I was just like, when I became a vegan and I started doing yoga at an early age, it was very frowned upon, within the religious community, because it's very Eastern. It's very like considered Eastern philosophy and ideologies, and I had a lot of backlash, but I'm like, but I feel very good when I do it. So even if I would do it afraid and with a lot of anxiety, like sometimes after yoga class they will like walk around anointing your mind, and I was just like, kind of freaking out, but I felt amazing. I just couldn't explain it, so it goes a lot with you having to do what's best for you. It's not a one size fits all, you understand? So when you really prioritize your health, you even fight against yourself. You fight against your lower animal, you understand, which is the one that wants to remain stagnant and comfortable. So what's discipline? It's doing it whether you feel like it or not, because feelings are not real. I don't always feel like eating good. I don't always feel like going to the gym, but it's not a feeling. I don't live off of feeling anymore, right? I live off of what's the highest good for me right now. What action can I take right now that's going to get me one step closer, not one step behind, So if I miss out today on my eating, I'm one day behind now instead of being one day closer to it. So once you start kind of shifting your mind and starting to see that it's all benefiting you, whether you're doing it or not, you're the one creating your reality and your environment and your circumstance. So whether it is that you are choosing a new neural pathway to create, or you want to go and reinforce the old neural pathway you have in your mind, it's all up to you every single moment of every single day, So you have decisions always. Am I going to feed the new version, the most optimal version of myself up? You work backwards. What would that person do? What decisions would they be making at the moment? I always tell people this. Every morning before you wake up, think of it this way. There's two timelines happening. You can wake up at 6 a.m., go to the gym, drink your protein shake, whatever, get your work done early, right, while everyone else is sleeping. Or this timeline's already here, or you can wake up at 10 in the morning, and now you're 3 hours behind, and now your timelines are lagged. So every morning, every second of every day, you get to decide what kind of timeline do you kind of want to jump into. And you don't have to wait till Monday. You understand? You don't have to wait till the new year. It's you decide this second if you want to shift your mind, and your mind just shifts, So once you decide that you desire something, all you have to do is align yourself to that timeline. That version of you has a different lifestyle than the current version of you have. What is it? Work backwards. You understand? What do they smell like? What is their morning like? What is their diet like? What's their work ethic like? You understand? What is their circle of friends? What do they look like? And you operate backwards instead of operating from the perspective which you currently are, because this version has gotten you exactly where you are this very second. Are you happy with that? Are you happy with the fruits that you're biting into? Because you're the one sowing them. If they're bitter, sow new seeds, right? If you're content with where you are, you can always be better as well. You understand? So that is just the drive of excellence. And the drive of excellence comes from stop operating in the lower animal consciousness and begin to embody the higher mind that's within you as well. That's the heaven and hell that people try to explain. It's just a state of mind. So you can create your own hell by falling into lustful desires and instant gratification. And the temporary ephemeral satisfaction won't ever satisfy you. It'll leave you wanting more and more and more. And just like sugar, it gives you a spike, but you crash really hard. And now you're kind of dependent on it, and now your diet is all just junk because you don't even know what's real or good for you anymore. So you kind of sometimes just need to take a step back and zoom out of the character that you are. See the bigger picture and see all the potential that lies within you, infinite potentials, which right now you're not reaching because through the conditioned mind, you are still the conditioned person. So you have the conditioned expectation, and your reality as you're creating whatever you're expecting is only reinforcing your belief. So to break free from the cycle, you need a fresh reset. You need the tabula rasa, which is, let me take a step back. Let me stop doing everything that I'm doing. Let me go inward. Right? Whether it's through fasting, whether it's through, doing the elimination diet and detox cleanses, what is it that is affecting your body? What is it that's affecting your mind? What is it that's affecting your drive? What's taking your passion from you? And once you cancel out the external noises, you kind of tune in with yourself for real, and you truly tap into the highest version of you, which is your higher self, which is what you're here to do. You're here to evolve. You're not here to be stagnant,
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear it? Because it's like, that is essential to everything that's holding you back. It doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve in life. That is the key to exactly what's holding you back. So if you want to rewind. So now I want to jump right into the artistic side of it, because now everyone can see that you are like the total practitioner. So tell me a little bit about your artistry and what got you into it. When did you know that you actually were talented, good at what you did?
Man, my earliest memories of singing has been from the age of 2. It's just, I think once I learned how to vocalize at age 2, I just never stopped. Like every day is like a concert. I'm in the shower, it's like 3-hour concerts and all these things. But, the journey to artistry was a very tumultuous one. Again, I grew up, in a religious setting. So it was like, worship music and all these things. So my mind was kind of there. I was like kind of being conditioned to be like a worship leader. And the older I got and the more I started shifting my philosophy and my beliefs, I'm like, that's not for me anymore. But it kind of took me on a journey of secular music. And my first single that I released was in 2022, I believe, and it was a reggaeton. I ended up doing Spanish music. It's a complete opposite. I kind of wanted to like shock myself, and at that time I was very much into the whole Instagram reality, of like what an artist should look like and what should they sound like, and I fell into that trap where it was just, I'm like, how can I look like one? How can I look one? And I became obsessive, and I started neglecting the art And I just started seeing what everyone else was doing and what was working for them. And back then it was just like, oh yeah, that bad bitch look and all these things, like the bodysuits, like the boots, the long nails, the hair, the lashes. And I just completely started shifting my core. And it was very far from what I was. And people would tell me, it's not about the look, it's about the music. I'm like, no, you don't understand. For women, it's not just about the music, it's how you look and how you look and how you look and all these things. And I was in the mind state of, I had fallen victim to that, and it did affect me as an artist a lot. And it wasn't until I was pushing out the song and I was getting invited to different places, and I burnt out, right? My anxiety was over the roof because I had this sense of perfectionism over myself, that it was more about the image than, and the apparent lifestyle that comes with it, than what it was to be a true artist. And I burnt out, and I went into like a hermit phase for like a year and a half that I recently got out of, like a few months ago, and very much needed. During that time, I healed so many beliefs about myself. I disconnected from the world for a year and a half, you know, where it was only I was either just reading or I was just working, and luckily I was working remotely as well. So it was just complete disconnect. But I found myself there, and I was able to heal my sacral chakra, which is your creativity. You know, I was able to heal my feminine energy, which is, you know, this reality has a very negative connotation when it comes to women. And we're expected to look a certain way, to behave a certain way. We're expected to be dependent, and we're expected to fall victim to like the expectations of what a woman should look like. And I began asking myself, what does a woman look like? You know, like, what is it? And I started rejecting the dogma that is in the mainstream reality, and I started healing the feminine within me, and healing, intense healing, and purging all these things, that ideologies that were fed into me. And I'm very grateful for that process, because the more I healed, the more creative I got, and the more outside the box I was thinking, and the more I started shifting, evolving as an artist, even so as now, you know. And I'm very grateful for that process, because now when I create, I put it out there, and I don't check for anything, because I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for the applause of other people. If I'm the only listener, great, so be it. I'm honoring myself and my creativity. And it's such a beautiful process when you get to that point where it's just, you're putting out music because you enjoy it. I enjoy the process of it. I enjoy the pain that came from transmuting it into art. And I enjoy the process of the alchemy of what it is to grab experiences and just create with it. You understand? And not just stay with the pain, but that pain is for you to create it, whether it's through painting, whether it's through writing, whether it's through singing, whether it's through acting. We all have a bag of coals that we have to go ahead and turn, you know, to gold. And being able to do that from a genuine and authentic place is the most powerful thing you can do. When you create from the genuine baseline of who you are, without the expectations of whatever it is that's been imposed onto us. Art is timeless. I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, you're almost 30 and you haven't done it. You can't do it. I was just like, you do music after 30, that is corny. And it's just like, art is timeless. You understand? It's so timeless. And for me to embody that and to actually work out of that has been the most powerful form of rebellion towards this reality, how it works. But it's been so empowering to me as an individual who's on a journey, you know. And I'm very grateful to be able to have the ability to create. You know, it's such a beautiful thing. You are made in the image of the universe, right? So you're a creator, you know. So if there's not a niche for you, you create it, because that's just your job. You're not stuck, right? So just because you hit a wall doesn't mean that that's over for you. It means, okay, let me assess, let me adapt, and let me evolve. Let me jump over this obstacle, because this is just for me to evolve. Whatever I'm thinking right now is not working for me. So how can I think outside the box? And thinking outside the box, my gosh, there's so much space here. You know, there's so many ideas that are yet to be tapped into. And it's just, people want to stay here, and it's okay. But even so, I believe that the structure of the music industry and all of it is completely crumbling, and the old ways, the old archaic ways they're not even relevant anymore, you know. So this is the age of Aquarius, the most perfect time for the innovators, the visionaries, and those who are operating out of straight heart, right? Heart mind connection is the most perfect time to begin to sow whatever it is that it's in your heart, that's been in your heart, that you felt like you couldn't do before. Well, now is the time to do it. So there's so much land for you to begin to sow now into whatever dream it is and whatever passion it is, for you to revive it, pour into it, invest in yourself. That's the best investment that you will ever be able to have the privilege of doing in this lifetime. Just investing in yourself and believing in yourself.
When you make your music now, would you say that what is it centered around? Is it centered around love? Is it centered around life? Like, what is the, how do you define yourself as an artist?
That's a great question. And so, when I was interested in releasing music again, I was kind of conflicted because I have a lot of old music that, again, it's like reggaeton and it's like going out and whatever. And I was just like, how does this reflect where I'm at now? You understand? And I separated it. I was just like, my holistic metaphysician work and my artistry, and it was conflicting. It was creating this cognitive dissonance within my mind. And I'm like, how can I be both? Like, isn't that hypocritical and all these things? I had to marry these two thoughts, and I had to integrate it and understand that, yes, I am a healer. And yes, I can also be the dark feminine. You understand? It's both me. They're both parts of me. So right now where I stand, I spoke to my manager and I'm like, look, I have a lot of music that I wrote when I started to do music. I was here, right? This was my mentality. And to honor that version of myself so that nothing I've ever been through goes to waste, I've been slowly going to begin to release the reggaeton, the going out music, because I'm honoring my process, especially as an artist. So I do have right now releasing songs that I wrote probably like 3-4 years ago that I never had the chance to release. And I'll be releasing like 4 or 5 more just to honor that process. But where I'm at as an artist now is I'm creating a lot more music that's very much like heart centered. Like, it's just like we don't really sing to love anymore. And for me, I find the beauty in everything. I can sit sometimes with nothing and people watch, and I feel like I'm on shrooms, and I see the beauty in people. I see the beauty in situations, and even when people are in problems, I see the beauty in it because I'm like, this is what's waiting for you on the other side, So to be able to capture that through art now, I told my manager, I'm like, listen, I'm going to release this kind of music for now. I'm going to begin to create ballads, timeless ballads that just sing straight to the heart. Again, I grew up doing worship music. If you're not able to move the people, you're not really doing a very good job as a worship leader. So for me, it was just all about emotions. And people always ask me, they're like, what's the kind of music that brings it out of you? I'm like, it's always going to be worship music because there's something tangible about singing from the heart to the divine, you understand, to the source of creation, to the universe. So to be able to bring that and mix that in and do it secularly where people might not even know what they're truly singing to, but my intention behind it was always that while I was creating it, I think there's so much beauty in that, So that's pretty much a transition where now, after I get this kind of little segue out the way, then it's genuinely where I am now at this very version of myself. And I've been just creating and it's music that I love. It touches me, and I'm just hoping it can change and uplift the moods of others wherever it is that they find themselves. So even through the reggaeton music, there's people that love to party and they love, instead of healing, they want to go out for a girls' night, and it's okay. So there's music for you for that. Empower yourself that version and that way. But now I'm like, let's go ahead and truly empower you and heal you at the same time. You understand? Where it's just like you don't feel the need to kind of find yourself in these low frequency places because you won't find your happiness there. But everything's a process. So now once you're ready for like grown up healing, then we also have music for you there. You understand?
Gotcha. Awesome.
Thank you.
What would you, if you had to give like an inspirational saying, quote that you would usually give to someone that was who was like you, where they are going through a process of loving themselves, who transition from doing that to actually embracing themselves and who is trying to figure it all out, what would you tell them to encourage them to keep going?
One of my favorite quotes is, "The cure for the pain is in the pain." And we read it so many times, you probably see it on Pinterest all the time, but to truly grasp that message is a completely different, it's like life shifting, you understand? Because even in holistic medicine, we believe that like cures like, which is there's an introduction to a potential illness that once it's introduced to your body's able to go ahead and resist it. It learns the ways and then it becomes resistant to it. So you're healing yourself through the actual illness, you understand? So when people say, the cure for the pain is in the pain, when you find yourself in a position where you're just hurting, where it's just you feel helpless, hopeless, depressed, suicidal, when you find no way out, don't run from it. Don't escape it, because you can't. It's going to a party or going out and hooking up with random people. It's going with you. It's not, you're not leaving it at home. You're not leaving it at the door, because it's you, it's your mind. So being able to find the strength somehow and confront the darkness that's there, it's only haunting you because you're afraid of it. When you give your attention to something, it grows, right? And where attention goes, your energy goes, attention goes, and it just grows and grows and grows. So when you find yourself in those moments, I quickly realized when I would go through my worst depressive episodes, I was like 18, and I would not leave bed. It was just, my days consisted of nothing. You understand? It was just absolute darkness. And I would tell myself innately, I was just like, it's gonna be better. I didn't want to live that day, but I'm like, it's gonna be better. One day is gonna be better. And I was just brainwashing myself with that little saying that I would tell myself. I find myself now sometimes, and I look back and I'm like, wow, like I'm just so grateful that even if it didn't seem like I was sowing anything during that time, that little line just gave me so much motivation to at least get out of bed, whether it was to make myself coffee. You understand? So in those moments, it was just, and I always told myself, I'm like, if you can think your way into this abyss of despair, you can also think your way out. And I was 18, just reprogramming myself, and I was just like, you can think your way out, you can think your way out, you can think your way out. And to be able to, I didn't believe it back then. It just sounded like nonsense, like you were saying, like it was just very imaginatory, but it was what strengthened me during that time somehow, and everything's a journey. So it's not like I was able to see the whole road that was waiting for me. But every day where I'm like, one day it'll be better. One day it'll be better. It was taking baby steps, whether they were shaky, whether I believed it or not, whether I was crawling my way to continue my journey and my path. That was life-changing enough to keep me going, you understand? And now that I am where I'm at, it's night and day, you understand? But I understand that I wouldn't appreciate and live a life full of gratitude if I never had the contrast of where I was. If I rejected where I was, or if I was ashamed of where I was, I wouldn't be able to have the same outlook that I currently have. So we often wish to bypass those moments, but again, the cure is in those moments. You understand? The medicine is in those moments. It's bitter medicine. No one wants to drink that medicine, but it's healing. And that's what's going to set you free. A lot of us just go our life bypassing these phases, when these phases are literally the building blocks to what and who you're meant to be. So confronting those moments, maybe skipping a Friday night out and staying in and crying, maybe reflecting back on the past pains and crying. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and cry in your room, you understand? And admit the pains. You can't heal what you don't admit, you understand? And you also can't heal what you're not willing to let go of. So those moments where you're just finding yourself in utter despair are the most crucial moments. They're the most potential life-changing moments that you could ever find yourself in front of, and that's just my advice, is just don't run from those moments. Don't be ashamed. If you have to cry, if you have to scream, if you have to write angry letters, if you have to write them and burn them. Don't send them to the person, because the poison you're carrying is not killing them, it's killing you. You know, so it's for your own good that you forgive. It's for your own good that you heal.
It's amazing. I know it's so good. Uh, so, Merari, let me ask you this question. So, how can people find you online, and you know, whether that's from you being a healer and doing what you do holistically, or is that, or either from the artistry side? How can they find you?
Yeah, thank you. There's my website. I'll go ahead and give it to you. It's the Metaverse, so it's gonna be Meta, MERA verse, and there you'll be able to see the services I offer. I do a lot of remote work. While I do Reiki and like holistic massages, I also do tailored wellness plans. And what the wellness plans is not just, I'm covering all dimensions. So it's not just your nutrition, it's not just your diet, it's weekly check-ins with any counseling that you need, whether it's like emergency counseling and you're just going through a crisis. I can also definitely work with you in that aspect, in that regard. And then when it comes to the music, the Instagram is going to be at the Metaverse. That's just a handle. And yeah, I have a blog on Medium under the Metaphysician, and a YouTube channel where I just go ahead and get on and like just speak on whatever's on my heart during that moment.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate you too.
To you know, do this interview, and then also just sharing all your experiences, your vulnerabilities, but then also you know, helping people to understand that they're not alone in that.
Right.
You know,
Never.
Not a being transparent is not an easy thing to do, but I think that it's also one of those things where you realize like it's a power in it. It's a power in your transparency. I always say to people that, you know, your experience belongs to you, but I say that your story belongs to the world.
Thank you.
You sharing that, I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. So I appreciate you taking the time and joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. And I really appreciate you taking the time. And to conclude on what you said, in your vulnerability, you are invulnerable. There's nothing that could affect you.
So, Merari, thank you. I hope you
Chris.
Enjoy, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.